Hi, this is Alimayo Arango of ArangoDigitalProduction.com, and today I want to show you how to make frame-by-frame animations inside of Blender 2.70. So let's get started. Okay, if this is your first time in Blender, I recommend you go to File, User Preferences, go to Input, and then choose Select with Left. Blender's default select is with right click, and this may confuse you if you're coming from Adobe programs or other 3D programs. Also, if you happen to be on a laptop instead of a computer with a full keyboard, if you put a check mark right here where it says Emulate Number Pad, this will simulate the keys when I say 1 that takes you into front view on the full keyboard, 3 that takes you in the side view, or 7 that takes you in the top view on the full keyboard. What this will do is make the keys at the top of your laptop keyboard emulate those keys. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to delete this cube by selecting it and hitting X. We're then going to hit 1 to go into front view. We're then going to hit Shift A to bring in a plane. We're then going to hit R to rotate on the X axis 90 degrees, then left click to lock in. We're then going to hit S to scale it up about that big, then hit S to scale on the X axis, and then just pull your mouse out to the side like this. Okay, once you have that pulled out to the side, what you're going to do is you're going to I'm holding my middle mouse button here and I'm just dragging to the side. I'm going to click the material button here. I'm going to click new, and I'm selected on this plane. I'm going to go down to, this is emission. Let me pull it out so you can see it, or emit. You're going to take this, turn this all the way up. Gives you a nice white page-like color here. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to see this plane here. We're selected here. You're going to click this arrow here. When you click this arrow, what this is going to do is this is going to allow you to not select this plane, which is what you want, because you don't want to select the plane by accident. So just click this arrow. Now the plane is non-selectable. You're then going to click the camera because you don't need it. You're going to pull it up and out of the way. Okay, what you're going to do now is you're going to right click just to get that cursor out of the way, and what you're trying to do is get this to look as close to a white piece of paper as you can. You're then going to hit N on your keyboard to bring up this menu. You're going to go up to grease pencil. You're going to go to new layer, select new layer. You're also going to put a check right here, and this is your onion skins, and this is going to allow you to see in between frames so you can draw over. And what we're going to do, in Blender 2.7 now we have this menu right here. So you're going to just select grease pencil, and you're not going to select anything right here. You can select drawing session that will allow you to just draw without pushing or holding anything, but I recommend that you actually just hold the D button down and draw with, whether you're using a mouse or a Wacom pad like myself. I recommend you just hold D. So I'm going to hold D right now. I have a Wacom pad in my hand, and as I hold D, I just draw, and you can see there's a line right there. I mean, the line is very similar, like a regular drawing. And the reason why I recommend you hold D instead of using sketching session, which will allow you to just draw, is because when you hold D, you can also hit your right mouse button and just very easily erase. It's a preference. I really don't want this to be a tutorial about using the grease pencil. I really want this to be a tutorial about doing frame by frame animations, so we'll move on. Okay, so now that we have that all set up, let's come back over to our render button, and we have it right now we're set for 24 frames a second. I'm actually going to change this to HDTV 720, and I'm going to click in here for frames per second. I'm actually going to turn this to 12 frames a second, which will make it a lot easier for us to animate, since we're going to actually be drawing the frames by hand. So now what we're going to do is just start our drawing off. So with starting right there at frame 1, I'm going to hold the D key down. I have a Wacom pen in my hand, and I'm just going to draw the beginning phrase of a or phase of a character doing a partial run cycle. So as I'm drawing, I'm just holding down. In this particular drawing, the character is just like basically launching himself straight up, from this run cycle, and you really don't have to. You'll see later why you don't have to, worry too much about basic mistakes at this part. So yeah, the character he's doing his part of a run. He's like launching himself forward as much as he can. His foot's pointed up in the air. This leg is like this. You can see he's like thrusting himself, into his run here. And again, you don't you'll see why you don't have to get too crazy as far as putting detail in here. I'm just doing this. You can see, make sure that you know which leg is forward and back here. So that's why I'm doing this. Okay, and with that first drawing done, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the number pad and we're going to hit the right arrow 8 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You know what? We'll stop right there where it says 8. So we hit it 7 times. And now what we're going to do is, because we set this onion skin on. I'm talking like this because my wife is asleep. I'm making this tutorial in the middle of the night, trying not to be too loud. You can see this onion skin. So what's going to happen with that onion skin, as soon as we start to draw our next frame, you'll see this one go light. I mean, it's very cool that Blender has this built into it. It's actually pretty amazing. What we're going to be doing here is there's 2 types of animation you should know about if you're going to be going along with this tutorial. Just animation in general. There's one style of animation. It's called straight ahead animation, and that's kind of like you just draw an animation straight through. Whatever you want the animation to do, you draw. Pose to pose is when you set keyframes and then come back and then put in details later on. We're going to be doing pose to pose here. Okay, so I'm going to hold down the D key as I'm holding it down now, and I'm going to just start drawing. And you can see that the drawing automatically lowers the opacity down. The onion skin allowing me to use the other drawing to go ahead and draw here. So very cool. So I'm just going to actually make sure that I have this leg coming down here. And again, my drawings, proportions, all that, you really don't have to worry so much about that right here, because we're going to come back and add some detail later on. It's amazing. I used to do an animation in Flash, and I was able to find open source things for almost everything but Flash, and I was like, man, Flash did do an excellent job for frame by frame animation, and I really couldn't find anything. And then when I found out this technique in Blender, I was pretty amazed that Blender, yet again, here's like something else that Blender could do and actually do well. Okay, so now that we have that frame in, we're going to take this up to 16. So you can just look right here where it says camera, where it says 8, it's actually showing us the frame there. It's also showing us the frame there. I'm just going to push on my right arrow key again, take this up to 16, 8 again. So now I'm holding D on the keyboard, and I'm just drawing again. Yeah, I'm a little spoiled from my got a Samsung Note 3 phone. I love that thing. And it spoils you because you can actually draw directly on the phone. So I feel thrown off, a little bit. I love to draw, though. I spend a lot of time in making 3D models and doing 3D animation, so I haven't drawn as much as I would like to recently, and hopefully just doing this in Blender will help me to start coming back. Yeah, as I make this tutorial, anybody who sees this, I'm hoping you guys can actually help me refine this technique, that I'm showing you here, and come up with some cool ideas as we go through this. I mean, you can send me some cool ideas of how to make this better, because I am psyched up and looking forward to hearing from you guys, seeing what kind of cool stuff you can come up with. Okay, now with that frame drawn in, we're going to go to take a right arrow again. We're going to take this. Whoops. There we go. We're going to take this up to 24. Same thing again. I'm just holding D. And just starting to draw, and as soon as I start to draw, it activates my my onion skin. Actually, around here, he's launching himself forward again. Yeah, grease pencil was really meant for setting 3D animations up. But it's just awesome, the fact that the Blender developers, I tell you what, they amaze me. But yeah, if this thing, if you guys can help me refine this technique, I honestly believe that Blender can be used as a serious 2D animation tool. And basically, like, the problem I had before was when I do these drawings here, and you'll see as we go through this tutorial, I couldn't figure out a way to get the drawings out. I know you could take the drawings and convert them to curves and get the drawings out that way, but it seemed cumbersome and it just didn't seem too intuitive. Let me add some shading to this back leg here. We know just which leg is, which arm is which. But yeah, I was having a hard time getting the drawing out in an easy way, and this thing I'm going to show you here, it isn't too spectacular. I mean, maybe it'll seem obvious to some people, but when it dawned on me, I was like, oh, we can use that to get it out. Anyway, what we're going to do now is we're just going to hit our arrow key 4 times this time. We're going to take this up to 28. So now I'm holding D again, and each time I'm hitting the arrow key, I'm letting go of D. Basically, when you want to start drawing, you hold D. When you want to stop drawing, you let go of D. So I am holding D now. As soon as I start drawing, you can see there's my onion skin coming back. But yeah, there's one of the things it's funny with I have a great love for open source programs, and the way it came about was kind of strange. When I was in design school, I going to school cost a lot of money, and when I came home, I was like, man, it's gonna be rough, getting Adobe. And long story short, I got Adobe. I had a MacBook Pro. I was all very pleased with my Adobe programs. And what happened was as I started getting into doing visual special effects, the MacBook Pro at the time, it had 2 gigs of RAM, and it didn't have enough RAM to really power After Effects, which I use a lot. So long story short, I ended up going from a Mac to a Windows just for power and the price sake, and I lost my Adobe programs. I was able to. The Mac actually did very well. I'll say one thing for the Mac: the darn thing. I love that computer, but it when I got rid of it, traded in very well. I actually got a new computer with the money that I received for trading back in. But when I traded it in, I lost my Adobe program. So basically, what happened? I was a teacher at the time. I traded in. I taught graphic design, and I was showing my students, the open source programs and trying to let them know that they could, they could do the stuff at home, even if they couldn't get the Adobe programs. And I started using the open source programs, and I figured, well, as soon as I had the money, I would go back to, Adobe and, get the Adobe suite again. And basically what happened in that time, I realized that I really hadn't lost anything from using the open source programs. As a matter of fact, it seemed like I actually had gained some things and learned some new things because of the open source programs. Okay. Yeah, I guess this tutorial will have a different feel to it. Like I said, I'm trying to speak low because my wife is asleep. I had this tutorial in my mind. I really was looking forward to showing you guys it. Anyway, now we have these basic, we have our keyframes in. So basically, we can hold the right mouse button, and you can see our, character like vaulting himself forward. So what we want to do now is here's the first keyframe. So we were going 4x8. So what we're going to do is go back to frame 1, and we're going to take this to frame 4, and we're going to hold D down, and we're going to draw in another key in between keyframes. So basically, actually it's in 3D and 2D. 2D, you want to get your keyframes first if you're doing pose to pose, and once you get yours, you basically get the basic motion down that you want. You come back and you put in your in between frames. So again, straight ahead is like you just you move something a little bit, almost like stop motion. Move something a little bit, come back. Move something a little bit, come back. You go straight through in like a linear process. Where pose to pose is more of a you make sure you have the frames that you want, and then you come back after having those frames that you want, and you come back later on. You add your detail in there. So we're just putting detail in between these two poses here. So the pose after this is his foot. Character's foot is actually making contact. And this one, it's just about to. So now I let go of the D. So now we sit there and we say, there's his in between pose. Adds a lot. So now we have, frame 8 is he makes contact. So now we'll go to frame 12, and I was using the right mouse. You can also, I was using the right arrow. You can also just take your mouse and hold the right mouse button and drag to the side. Alright, so there he's making contacts. Again, I'm going to hold D down, and I'm just going to draw. And you can see the onion skin coming from like both directions from before and after this. And again, you don't have these drawings here don't have to be perfect, because even this stuff is the in betweens. This isn't the detailed drawing part, I guess you would say. So the in between, the in between pose is just meant to add some, detail to make the pose basically look smoother. So you draw your in between pose here. If I'm drawing it right, I want to hold the right mouse button and look at the drawing there. So we have it. So it should be 4 and 8. Then 12, and there's 16. Now we need one for 20. Okay, so again, just so you know, when I'm hold down D as long as I'm drawing. As soon as when I move the timeline, I'm not holding down D. So now I'm about to draw another in between frames. I'm going to hold down D yet again. So holding down D. Okay, so now we have this one in here. So now that's frame 20. So we go to frame 24 is there. Oh, that was the last frame. So we have frame 24. Okay, then we had frame 30. Alright, so here's our keyframes. As I scrub the timeline. Okay, now so there's the kind of, if you want to see the character, like not see the other keyframes, you click right here where it says onion skin frames. If I turn this to 1, this will limit the frames to 1. This will limit, basically if I click on 1, you won't see the in-betweens. So you can get a different look at your animation there. Okay, now that we have the basic, where do we stop at? We stop at frame 30 is the last one. Okay, I'm gonna turn this back so we can see the onion skins. Now we're gonna add our detail level in. Okay, so basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to frame 1, right? Then on frame 1, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a new layer just by clicking new layer, and you can see here's our active layer right down here. We can actually name this layer, so I'm going to name this layer detail. You ever have you ever concerned about what layer is on? If you click the eye and nothing disappears, you know you're on the right layer because it's the new layer. Click the eye there, everything disappears. So what we want to do is we're going to be on our, and you click this check mark here, shows you which layer is active, by the way. So this layer right here, what we want to do is we want to lower down the opacity here. All right, lower that down. I think it only lets you go down to 0.3 0.3. So you want to make sure you have a check mark here. And now what we're going to do here is we're going to add, I'm going to hold shift in my middle mouse button and pan, and we can actually zoom in here. And now what we want to do is with this layer on, this is the beauty of digital art, we can zoom in and make things look beautiful. So I won't do that because it'll take me forever if I do that. So basically what we're going to do is draw in detail now. And what you can do here is you can go ahead, since this is your detail layer, make sure you have again your check mark on the active layer you're at. So we're active here, so we're going to draw in some detail for this heads. We're going to hold down D. Be careful, make sure you hold down the D just over here so you don't activate any of the things right here if you have your blender set up like me. So we're just going to take this character's head and go ahead and draw some detail in. You can zoom in as big as you need to get the detail you want in. And you do want to, this is going to be your actual, when you're doing your detail here, this is going to be your actual what you're going to see. So you know, if you're not going for a sketchy look, then you're going to want to be very careful with your lines. Let me just zoom out here. So when I zoomed out, I just let go of D. I just rolled my middle mouse button out. Actually, make this guy. See, I'm trying not. My brain is automatically thinking sketchy, but you really, unless you're going for that sketchy look, you really don't want to, so much push the sketchy look again, unless that's what you're going for. Try to go through here, fairly so I start trying to really get into it, I could start getting myself in trouble. Art part of my brain I start kicking in. Haven't had as much time 2D as I would like. Just I spend a lot of time in drawing 3D stuff. I mean modeling 3D and rigging stuff. Yeah, but the main gist I want you to get from here is you can sit there, you can make this thing as detailed as you want to make it. You've got your guide in there. I'm letting go of D and just zooming out. You've got your guide drawing in. So, I mean, you can come in here and just go crazy with detail if you want it. I'm not gonna make you guys suffer through and watch me keep messing with this drawing. But I just want you to get the understanding that you can sit there, you can get your detail in, and this is how you would do it. And basically, what's going to happen is once your drawing is done, your detail drawing, if you chose to, if you wanted to put a detail over this, that's all you would see was the detail. You would only show your detail level. You wouldn't even show your other layer for when you render it out. I mean, you wouldn't show your rough layer when you render it out. You would just show your detailed layer. Okay, now Blender, it remembers when you try to start another drawing, so I'm just going to take this, my 3D cursor over here, I'm just going to go to frame 4, and just so that this drawing doesn't hang around, I'm going to hold D and just put a mark down, just so Blender, doesn't, Blender basically will keep the drawing until you do another drawing. So now, we can just sit here and turn our frames on for here, and now we can see our, just our one layer of detailed drawing and our other drawing. Okay, basically I'm going to hit it N to take this away. The situation, I'm going to hold Shift and my middle mouse button to pan this. Basically, one of the things that I was struggling with that I thought was a cool idea, It's not so much anything new. Is these drawings? It was hard. Actually, let me hit N to bring this back. I'm gonna go to the top frames, and I'm gonna put this to 1. Then I'm going to hit N to take it away. By putting this frame to 1, it's going to let you get rid of your ghost images. Alright, so now when we scrub through to frame 30 where it ends. Oh, one other thing I almost forgot. I'm going to hit N. I'm going to turn the opacity back up. There we go. So now I'm going to hit N to take it away. So okay, so our drawing stops at frame 30, so we can click N and put in 30 frames here. Basically, one of the things that I was struggling with is I could not figure out an easy way to draw quickly and then to turn this into curves is what you had to do to get this to render. What you had to do to render this out, to get these drawings to show, because basically they're pretty much designed so you can set up a 3D drawing, right? Here, I and you, if you're following along, we're trying to force it to 2D, and then I realized something that instead of struggling to turn this into curves, there was a much more easier way to deal with the issue as far as getting these drawings out easily. Yeah, again, the issue is getting this to render out to Blender's external drawing, get this to put out of Blender's renderer. Then I realized if you click this button right here, it's a normal thing of Blender. It's nothing new. It's been around in Blender for a long time. But if you click this button here, it basically renders the window that it renders this window right here, and it renders it internally, so you can see the camera and you can see like this point and you can see like this little thing right here. But basically, if you take a plane, do it like I showed you, turn it to white, move the camera out of the way, move the 3D cursor out of the way. For the most part, with the exception of this, you have a basic white plane here. So basically what we're going to do right now is we're going to change this to a new window. We're going to bring this down to we're going to change this to H.264. We're going to change this encoding to MPEG-4. Then we're going to make sure that we have a place for this to render. So we'll name this internal render video output. Click here. This lets Blender know where we're going to send this. We'll set this to 30 frames. It's set. So now we just click here. Okay, I'm used to animating at 24 frames a second or 29 frames a second. If this animation comes out too slow for you, you can always come right back right here where it says frames per second. I have this set at 12, which is kind of like an animation frame rate for 2D animation, if I understand it right. I'm going to click here and just change it back to 24. Come back to the internal render button right here, and that's what you want to do, is you're rendering internally, which is right here from this button, not externally, which is this animation button right here. This is the normal Blender button we would render with if you're animating with this. So you're going to click here. I actually like it, this particular animation at 24 frames a second. One of the things I would recommend you guys do is render out another animation of your 2D animation. What you want to do is click this plane and click this arrow to make this selectable. Again, this plane selectable. Don't worry about the grease pencil animation disappearing. Basically what you're going to do is click this plane. You're going to click material button. You're going to change this from diffuse to green. Nice lime green. Take a wild guess what we're going to do with that nice, bright green there, right? Don't worry about it disappearing. You can actually click here again if you want, or leave it out. I recommend you click it there again and then make it deselectable again. Then click the camera. You'll see your animation comes right back again, and now I would say render it out yet again. So I'm gonna go back to the render button. I'm gonna go to where to know where it's going, and I'm gonna name this green video output. Accept. Go to not your external render, but your internal render. Okay, this is the last frame of the animation, and one of the things that you'll notice is that we can still see the camera here. We can also still see this gray up here, and one of the ways we can deal with this is, I thank God for the developers of Blender making it so easy and versatile, and I will show you how to deal with these issues right now. Okay, and the way we're going to deal with that is we're actually going to go to File, New, Reload Blender. We're going to totally, go to a totally new version of Blender. We'll set this up so this is ready to export again. So we'll change this to HD TV 720. We'll go down to PNG. We'll turn this to H.264. We'll go to encoding. We'll turn this to from AVI to MPEG-4, and then we'll make sure that we know where this is going to. Yeah. More final 2D render. Click in that folder, click accept. And now what you're going to do is you're going to click here. You're going to go to the movie clip editor, right? We're now going to go open and find that file. You can click this button right here to allow you to see. So here's the green video output. I'm going to open that up. I'm going to roll my mouse wheel down so I can see it. Inside of the movie clip editor, where you see it says tracking here, you're going to click this. You're going to change this to mask. And now what you're going to do is hold control, and you are going to put a hold control and put a mask marker here. Put one mask marker here, straight across. A mask marker here. I'm holding control and right clicking to put these down. And I'm just going to put one here, and then I'm going to hit Alt-C to join them. So now we have a mask, and we can just push these little heads down here to make sure that this part that we don't want to see is cut off, right? And now what we're going to do is we're going to click right here. We're going to go to the node editor. And we're going to click this button right here. We're going to click use nodes. We don't need this render layers here. We're going to left click here, hit X to delete that. We're going to click add. We're going to go to input. We're going to take a movie clip. We're going to click add. We're going to go to matte, take king. We're going to click add. We're going to go to, where did I get to that? Wait a second. Input, oh, there we go. Input mask. Okay, and what we're going to do now with this is we are going to load our movie in, and Blender should have remembered where the movie was at. So we're going to click here. Here's the green video output. Alright, so there's there. We also need the viewers. We're going to click add, output, viewer. We'll put that over here. We need this, with that use alpha on. We'll put this composite down here. What we're going to do is we're going to run. You'll see that if we take this and run this right into the viewer and we click backdrop, we can see that image. We can hit V to make it zoom out. We can hit Alt V to make it zoom in. We're going to zoom it out a little bit so we can see it. Alright, now we're going to take this node from this image to the viewer. We're going to click here. And we're going to plug right from the image. We're going to plug this right into image. Okay, we're now going to take this out from this king where it says image into the viewer image with let's say we're now going to take here, and we're going to move this towards the green, and there you go. You can see right there. Let me hit Alt V so you can zoom in. That green is keyed out. Okay, we're still not done because you can see this gray is still right here. We need to get rid of that. So what we need to do is we're going to click here. This F mask is the default mask. When you make a mask in Blender, automatically it's called F mask. I could have named it, but it's called F mask. Blender remembers what you did from the movie editor. That's what you see right here. So I'm going to click that. I'm now going to click add input. Where's it at? Color. You want to go to color invert, right? And what you're going to do, just so you understand this, we take this from the mask to garbage, right? Makes this disappear. Don't be alarmed. You're going to take your invert, grab it, put it right in between, and now you can see that that's gone. So now with that gone, with everything out here, now we're going to click this end frame. We're going to turn this to 30. And now you can see that there is our image animating out, and it has no background now, so it allows us to do other things with it. So now with that out, with this stuff already set up, H2.64, MPEG 4, if you had sound, you would turn this audio codecs, you would go from none to MP3. With it set up, more final render, accept. Now what we do is we just make sure that we have it. Here's the viewer allowing us to see it. To render this out, we need to have this image go from here to into the composite. The composite thing that actually lets it come out. And we'll change this to new window. Now we're just going to click animate. Should be very quick. Okay, there we go. Close this. Oh, I just realized I messed up. It's the middle of the night. Okay, here we go. Keep everything the same. You want to change this to PNG. Okay. The reason why you want to turn this to PNG instead of movie, like I just showed you, the H.264, is you want this to be transparent. The whole point is to make it transparent. So make sure this is on PNG. Make sure this is RGBA, not RGB. Click here. You're going to want to make sure you have a file to catch. There's going to be 30 PNGs that come out. You're going to click here. We'll put this PNGs for future 2D art render. So you want to click here. You're going to click here. This is going to be filled up with PNGs. You want to do the same thing. Everything should be good here. PNG RGBA. So what you want to do is now you're going to click animation yet again. And basically what it's doing this time is it's spitting out individual PNG files, which is what we want, because those individual PNG files will have the ability to be transparent. So we close here. Okay, now what we're going to do is you're going to go to File, New, open up a totally new version of Blender. You're going to go, like I showed you last time, except this time, yes, you want to actually spit it out as a movie file, not PNG. So you're going to change this to new window. You're going to change this to HD TV 720, my preference anyway. You're going to go down to where it says MPEG. You're going to turn this to H.264. You're going to go to encoding. You're going to change this to MPEG 4. If you have video later, audio, you're going to change this from none to MP3. And what else? You're going to make sure you have a, let's make a new folder for this. We'll put this final 2D art video render. Yeah, final 2D art video. So click there, hit accept. Okay, now with all that stuff set up, Okay, now with all that stuff set up, you're going to click right here. You're going to click video editing. Takes you to this window. What you're going to do now is you're going to go to add, you're going to go to add image, and you're going to look for that, where's it at? You're going to look for this PNG file. PNGs refuse you to the art render. You're going to look for where your PNGs are at, and you're going to hit A, add image strip. And if you look here, it's kind of hard to see, but you have your image strip right there animating. Now you're going to hit with this timeline all the way there, you're going to hit left click here. You're going to hit G, move this up. Here you're going to hit Shift S to make it automatically snap to the timeline indicator. You're then going to grab, here's my background folder, so I'm going to grab this tree right here, right? I'm going to grab this and pull it right here. Whoops. Okay, now with that here, what I'm going to do is line this timeline indicator up. This is our drawing art here. I'm going to click right here. I'm going to hit Shift S. Shift S automatically makes this part. When you click this arrow, you have to click this arrow. If you click here, the whole thing will snap. You click this arrow, it'll snap right to this timeline indicator, right? You left click to lock it in, right? Now with this selected here, right? What you want to do is click here, and then you want to go all the way over to this right menu where it says blend, and you want to put alpha over. And now basically what you have is you have your 2D art over top of an image. And you can even do a thing like, see how it's kind of like moving. Suppose you wanted to make it move like more across the frame. What you could actually do is you could actually set the keyframe right here, so he starts off there in the drawing, and that might be kind of hard to see. Left click here, you would go here, add effect strip, transform. Now when you put this transform on, it takes away your alpha over. So basically what you would do is you would left click the transform where it says blend replace. You would turn this back over to an alpha over, so it just like, it's almost like this transform replaces right here. Now with this transform, what you would want to do is you would go down to your position X, you would hit I to set a keyframe here, and you would move your timeline indicator to the end of the keyframe, and just click, left click and hold and drag here all the way to this end. I can see there's a line in there. What you would do there, and then you would hit I there. So now when you scrub, your animation actually can run across the screen. So that's it for the tutorial, guys. I know this was kind of a rough tutorial. I'm actually looking forward to seeing what you guys think about this. You know, how I did that. You know, I don't know if there's an easier way to do that. I looked around, I really couldn't find anything as far as or too many things really as far as doing getting 2D animation outside of Blender, and something that you know, I couldn't really find anything that showed you how to add in a detail level and do the in between frames. Something else you guys should know about, I mean, the grease pencil, the frames, the way we drew those frames inside of Blender, there's actually you can actually use Blender's dope sheet to adjust those keyframes. So it's pretty amazing, Blender's capabilities as far as using the grease pencil to create 2D art and animations. The only thing that Blender really didn't have set up, it seemed, for 2D animation was a way to get it out. And if you set up the way I showed you, it seems like that's a fairly decent way to get it out without too much trouble. And granted, you have to go to the node editor and all that. But anyway, let me know what you guys think of this tutorial. For all you guys that like these videos and reshare them, thank you, I appreciate it. And for you new people to this channel, if you like this video and you would like to see more, please subscribe, and thank you for viewing.